Welcome to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. And this show is about Plymouth County real estate. While we're taping this show in November, it is a report on October real estate activity in Plymouth County. The Registry of Deeds is responsible for all land records of 27 communities in Plymouth County. We record the document. We scan it as an image so that it's available the next day online as an image. And we create an index so that people can find the documents in the future. We then microfilm all the records in the case of a disaster so that the registry could be recreated in the event of a natural or otherwise some kind of a disaster that would make us start all over again. And we have a main office in Plymouth at 50 Aubrey Street in Plymouth, a satellite office in Rockland on Hingham Street, and a satellite office in Brockton at the former Brockton District Court on West Elm Street. So let's go to our numbers for the month of October. You'll see come across the chart a bar graph that'll talk about the number of deeds that are recorded in October. Deeds are when properties have been sold. A person sells it to the other. There's a grantor and a grantee in that sale, which I'll talk about in a little bit later. But there were 828 deeds recorded in October, higher than the 774 deeds in September. Normally, we're trending downward at this time of year. Overall, the deeds recorded were 1% higher than the 817 deeds recorded in October 2013. Year to date, across the calendar, with 10 months data in, we're up 2%. The next document I'm going to talk about is a mortgage, the mortgage document, which is usually attached to a sale of property. Mortgages are down, not because sales are down, but because a lot of people are not refinancing their property. About 9 months ago, when interest rates bumped up, a lot of people who were refinancing their property stopped that process. However, we recorded 1,595 mortgages in October. We are recording lower than we have in years past. That was more than the 1,493 mortgages in September of this year, but it was down 10% from the 1,769 mortgages in October of last year. Overall this year, we're down 34% in total mortgages. The next document, we're going to have a bar graph of our foreclosure deeds. Foreclosures have been very difficult across Plymouth County. A lot of people found that they got themselves in trouble for various reasons in terms of paying their mortgage, whether it be economic issues like a job loss, health issues, or otherwise. Foreclosure deeds have trended downward over the last number of years. There were 48 foreclosure deeds recorded in October, more than the 34 recorded for September of this year. However, less than the 58 foreclosure deeds recorded in October of last year. A foreclosure deed is when a lender has actually taken back title to the property. It's down 17% from last October. Last year overall, we were down 51% over the year before, so that's positive movement. We have seen a bump up in foreclosure notices, and you'll see that signified on the bar chart for foreclosure notices. Foreclosure notice is the first document we see at the registry that identifies us as somebody's in trouble for not having paid their loan. There are 123 foreclosure notices recorded in October, up from the 86 in September, and up from the 62, up 62% from the 76 foreclosure notices last October. Well, last year we were down overall by 52%. That tells me that the lenders are going after many properties that have been lingering in the shadows for many years, and we work very closely with housing councils to try to help people maintain their property by virtue of a modification. The next chart you're going to see is a listing of all towns of foreclosures and notices. Brockton, Plymouth, and Wareham, as you'll see in that list, have the most significant ones. I also want to mention our training room is open the first Thursday of every month. People can come in and have a free training session. Go to our website, which is PlymouthDeeds.org. You can see that and sign up by calling our office. It's a great, for anybody in the industry or any member of the public that does genealogical research, it's a great training lesson. We're implementing new legislation at the registry. The legislature established the ability to remove properties from land court. We have two sides of the registry, the recorded side and land court, which was property that had a judicial order based upon some kind of ownership or boundary dispute, and it's a much more complicated process. Many people are starting to remove property to the recorded side. I also want to mention that our next office hours that we're running is in the Lakeville Town Hall on Thursday, November 20th from 10 to 2. We do these office hours around the county, particularly in those communities that aren't as easily accessible to our satellite offices, and answer questions, talk about homesteads, and answer whether any property questions that they might have. My guests in the next segment are Molly Vollmer, Director of Plymouth County Extension, a 4-H educator, and Valerie Schell, a 4-H Extension educator. They're going to be talking about the great program run by Plymouth County called the Plymouth County Extension Service. So we'll see you in the next segment.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Welcome back to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. And in this segment, we always try to do something educational in nature. And I have two great guests with me today from the Plymouth County 4-H program. I have Valerie Schell, a 4-H Extension educator. Valerie, welcome again.
Thank you.
Done this once before. And Molly Vollmer, Director of Plymouth County Extension and a 4-H educator.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we've done this once before, and I thought it would be very important in this segment of the show to share with people one of Plymouth County's programs. In the past, in this segment, we've done things like surveyors and real estate attorneys and everyone involved with the real estate process. The program that you're involved with is something that touches a lot of corners of Plymouth County and is very well thought of. And I was a county commissioner before. I brought my pin with me from back then. I still have it, I assume. And have been to many of the forums that you've done over the years, and I think people appreciate the effort that you're working with children. And so first of all, Molly, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, how you got involved in this program?
Sure. So I grew up in the 4-H program on Cape Cod. My mother is actually the educator for Barnstable County 4-H. As a 4-H'er, I was involved in some small animal clubs, and specifically I trained and showed dogs. I then went off to college. I attended Regis College and got an undergraduate in biology, and I went back for a master's in management and communication. And an opening for the Plymouth County office became available, and I felt like it was a really good fit at the time. So I'm going on my 9th year as an educator in Plymouth County, and love my job.
Great. Now, Valerie, tell us a little about you.
Thank you. I started with Plymouth County 4-H as a volunteer. I did not grow up in the 4-H program as Molly did, but I did become a volunteer about 7 years ago in a horse program in Carver, and from there a job opening became available in the county office as a program assistant. I applied and was lucky enough to get the job, and from there I became a 4-H educator 2 years ago within the county office.
So why don't you give our viewers an overview of your program?
Sure. So the Plymouth County 4-H program deals with children between the ages of 5 and 18. They can experience 4-H through the 4-H club program, which is similar to Boys and Girl Scouts or other out-of-school programs, if you will. But our kids meet at least twice a month, usually with their 4-H club leader, on a variety of topics, usually focused in this area on animals, on science, and we have other unique clubs through the county as well. We have approximately 40 clubs, and everywhere from Hingham all the way down to Plymouth and beyond.
And your main office just moved.
Our main office moved. We are now at 44 Obery Street in Plymouth. We moved from our old Hanson location where we've been for many years. But we are all now in Plymouth, and it's a nice new building, very accessible to the public.
Great. And Valerie, let's talk about some of the things you're involved with.
I am primarily involved with the horse program. We have 10 horse 4-H clubs in the county, and I help facilitate some of the county horse bowl, hippology, and horse judging competitions, whereas we have about 15 youth that will compete in those 3 areas and go on to state competition as well as national competitions. We had 2 youth just this month, last week, as a matter of fact, that competed nationally in hippology and judging.
Great. So I know you're involved visibly to the public in a lot of the fairs that are around Plymouth County. You want to talk about that?
Sure. The Marshfield Fair is the biggest fair in this area and the one that we're most involved with. Mm-hmm. We have a 4-H presence at the fair all 10 days, and we are primarily in charge of facilitating and exhibiting in the livestock and barns area of the fairgrounds. Our other 4-Hers have other ways of participating, but generally every day of the fair there are at least 2 different animal shows that our kids participate in. Our volunteers are in the barns helping to staff the facility. And then we have other fairs that we participate in throughout the year too. There's the East Middleborough 4-H Fair, right, which is the traditional small country fair, right, over on Thompson Street in Middleborough. Right. And that's always over Labor Day weekend. And then there are a lot of other small-time festivals that we do specifically in the months of September and October, I would say.
Yeah. So I think it's great that although the fairs are certainly showcases, that you have meetings twice a month. And what does your program do over the winter? We're starting to get into some tough weather.
Well, this is the prime time for us to start educating the youth for their competitions, their state competitions. The hippology is just the study of the horses, so with that, they work on identifying grains, identifying horse breeds, shoes, anything that has to do with the horse itself and the history of horse, as well as the buzzer board part of the competitions where it's sort of a Jeopardy type competition. They start studying at club level with that and then at county level.
Mm. So if someone were to be watching this show and said, you know what, I want to start my own program, how would they do that?
They'd have to contact us at the Plymouth County Extension Office.
You want to share your contact information?
Yep.
While we're doing this?
Again, our physical location is at 44 Obery Street in Plymouth, Mass. Phone number is 781-293-3541, and we also have a county website at www.plymouthcounty4h.org. So they can get in touch with us through any of those methods, contact myself or Valerie. If someone's interested in volunteering, there is a volunteer application to fill out and complete. We ask for some reference checks, and they also do a Corey background check, make sure they're able to work with children. And then we have a orientation and training period on 4-H programs and how to facilitate them, and then we are always there to guide them throughout the year on all of the projects that we offer. So you don't need to have a specific skill in any area to become a volunteer. You just have to have a passion for learning, working with children, and wanting to share and spend time with them.
So I know Massachusetts was always an agricultural location from the beginning of time, beginning of the colony. And over time it's become more manufactured, more cities, more towns, but there's still a great amount of agriculture in Massachusetts, and I know 4-H is very involved in that. There's also a state meeting that you have at the State House every year.
Yes, we participate, Massachusetts 4-H participates in Agricultural Day at the State House every day, which is usually held at the very end of March. It's a day when our 4-H teen leaders, we call them 4-H ambassadors, come with us to the State House to meet with legislators, talk about their experience in the 4-H program, and participate in the events. And sometimes we have a 4-H'er who's able to speak during that event at the State House.
So if some young person was watching the show that would love to be involved with horses and training their horses, how would you encourage them? What would you tell them is so important about it?
Their desire, as Molly said, their desire to learn is important. Their desire to want to be around the animals. The 4-H horse program does not involve riding, so it's more of an educational and a horse lovers program. And if they want to learn about horses and be around horses, they can contact us at the means that Molly had mentioned earlier.
Great. Anything further you want to add?
Yeah, I think the important thing for folks to know is that 4-H definitely involves animals and opportunities like that, but what we really try to do within all of our 4-H programs is teach life skills to kids. So we focus a lot on communication, citizenship, leadership, and community service. So every club, regardless of their project, should participate in those activities throughout the year. We like 4-H clubs to have elected officers within their clubs, so the kids get a chance to be president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and learn all of those skills as they go. And their communication skills, we have, again, contests throughout the year. They can participate in something called visual presentations, and that really helps them later in life. The #1 fear of adults is public speaking. So this is something to start training them at an early age, and then it's never an issue as they get older.
I think that's great that you do that. So explain what the 4-H stand for in your 4-H symbol.
Sure, the 4-H's are head, heart, hands, and health. And we do have a 4-H pledge that the clubs can say. And the motto is to make the best better.
And each of the H's, can you explain what you guys do to reach those goals?
Head that's the educational piece of everything that we do. Heart is where we get a lot of community service involvement, you know, people that have special issues and things that are important to them that want to help others with. Hands, that's our way of teaching. Everything in 4-H is hands-on. And then health is really supporting an overall healthy lifestyle, and it's very important nowadays, you know, that children remain active, that they eat properly, and that they also have good mental health too.
Great.
We encompass that in the program.
Do you have any dates you can throw out there for the fairs? Do you know those yet?
Ooh, I believe the dates for the Marshfield Fair this year are August 21st through the 30th.
Okay.
And the East Middleborough Fair, Labor Day's late this year, so I think the fair falls on September 5th and 6th, if I'm not mistaken.
That's great. And they will be on your website. Do you want to repeat your website again?
Absolutely. So the website again is www.plymouthcounty4h.org, and our phone number is 781-293-3541.
That's great. I've been at both fairs. They're great things to visit. The folks that are involved with it are so proud of what they've accomplished over the years, and it's just a great thing for Plymouth County. So thank you for coming on and sharing it with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, Valerie.
Thank you.
And we're out.
You got plans?
You bet. $50 million Americans struggle with hunger, but we can do something about it.
Excuse me.
What's going on?
Dinner. Please join me in helping put food on their tables. Together, we can feed America.
You guys keep going. I'm gonna get the plates.
Plates?
Find your local food bank at feedingamerica.org/hunger.
Welcome back. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. I want to thank Molly and Valerie for their great description of the Plymouth County 4-H program. In this segment 3 of our show, we always try to do something a little lighter in nature. We'll talk about some of our Plymouth County history. I want to mention that November has 2 holidays, Veterans Day and Thanksgiving. I'm going to use a couple of our notable land record to highlight those holidays. I will mention that recently, on November 5th, we opened a display at the registry with the town of Kingston. It's the Kingston Settlement Display case as you walk in our main lobby on the left-hand side. And in that display case, there's a lot of memorabilia from the town of Kingston. And there are currently 8 notable land records on the wall as you walk in, along with all our other displays. The folks over in Kingston were tremendous in coming and offering their support and thanks for what we've done in terms of promoting some of their ideas. It's a great program that they're involved with. Their love of history is certainly something that is reciprocated throughout Plymouth County. And in particular, the first image you're going to see come on the screen was a notable land record done with Susan April. Susan April, who is the archivist from the Kingston Public Library Local History Room, wrote all of these notable land records up that were entered into our collection and did a tremendous job finding the documents they're related to and telling the story. So the first one I'm going to show today of our notable land records is the Frederick Adams Public Library. And it's Kingston's first municipal public library. It's a historic building now known as the Adams Center. It's a beautiful building in Kingston. Before 1898, the reading residents of Kingston didn't have options for borrowing books. They had a lend a hand club, and it was a group of school children, and the town opened its first public library based upon a will of Frederick Cook Adams, who was a businessman. In 1895, the town voted to accept that gift and build a library. And a very famous architect, Joseph Everett Chandler, designed the building, and it opened in 1898 and was operational for many years. Back then, believe it or not, the construction was $16,000, leaving $10,000 to be for books. And it was a beautiful library. Basically ran out of space. The library functions were moved in 1994. That building was added to the National Register of Historic Places, and in 2012 rededicated as the Adams Center, a town building used for the benefit of the citizens of Plymouth. The next document I'm going to show you from our notable land record collection basically reflects our upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. Clearly, Plymouth County was founded on Plymouth Colony, and one of the well-known colonists, John Alden, was one of those folks that came over on the Mayflower. He decided to stay after he arrived. He was a cooper aboard the Mayflower, and many people are familiar with his courtship of Priscilla Mullins, although it was supposed to be a courtship for Miles Standish. The Courtship of Miles Standish, a poem by Longfellow, is certainly well recognized and looked at this time of year. But in 1627, in the second division of the lands, Duxborough, as it was called, was a place that John Alden moved to, he and Priscilla. There were 100 acres of land granted to him. It is recorded in volume 1 of our court records, of our colony records. And it is near the Bluefish River. The Alden house was built as early as 1653. It has never been owned by another family. And it remains in the name of the Aldred Kindred of America, who maintain the house as a museum. And it's a place you can visit, and certainly a great part of Plymouth history. And again, this month being the month we celebrate Veterans Day, we wanted to bring forward a notable veteran. Oliver Wendell Holmes, you'll see his display come across the screen. He was a member of the Massachusetts Supreme Court at a summer home in Mattapoisett. He was a Civil War veteran who was wounded twice, seriously wounded 3 times actually, and he owned a cottage in Mattapoisett. He was named to the United States Supreme Court by Teddy Roosevelt and unanimously confirmed to the Supreme Court, an event that doesn't happen often in these days. But I also want to take a moment to thank Lorna Green Baker, Christine Richards from our office. I want to thank David Antoine, who allows us to present this information across PAC TV. Today, Erica Christensen, Ben Alexander, and Tom Bowes helped me get this show together. Again, thank you to PAC TV for allowing us to share this information. And we love to talk about people's most valuable asset, their homes. And I'll see you next month. Have a great Thanksgiving.